Good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are live on Sunday, 25th of July, 12:02 p.m. Today, I'm going to talk about Ethereum and as newbies, how we should look at Ethereum, how do we understand Ethereum and everything around it, the competitors, the likely pricing, and where should we start on that? So please like and subscribe and follow me on Twitter and join the Discord. And nothing I said today is financial advice, of course, just for education and entertainment purpose. So let's get started. So for newbies, just a quick review on Bitcoin. I think in my last episode, I talked about my view on Bitcoin and what Bitcoin means to me. Now, just a quick update on Bitcoin's knowledge if people don't remember or haven't yet done their studies. Bitcoin was invented in officially January 2009 and by a nominated group of people or one person called Satoshi Nakamoto, right? But it was actually started to work on probably much earlier than 2009. What happened in January 2009 was that Satoshi has actually mined his first block, Genesis block, in that time. But the white paper he was working on was probably as early as at the beginning of 2007, and then later on 2008, through 2008, I would say. Now, Ethereum was initialed and released later on in July 2015 by a group of people led by a genius crypto expert called Vitalik Buterin. I think he's Russian American. And Ethereum's done a very first ICO. And the pre-sale raised something around $18 million worth of Bitcoin to support the scheme. So, and Ethereum obviously is the second biggest name after Bitcoin. And Ethereum's been there for up until today is 6 years. So it's the biggest platform that people use, especially when DeFi started to be really hot since summer last year, so summer 2020. Now Ethereum is also facing a few problems, and that's where you will hear all the competitors and all the layer 2 solutions or Ethereum 2.0 or side chains and all the other things comes up. And for newbie investors, what do I do? What should I? How should I understand Ethereum? And how should I understand the problem with Ethereum as well as the advantage of Ethereum? And where should I start my investment? And here are a few things that my understanding is. So Ethereum's problem is that it's the scalability, it's the speed. When there are a lot of people using Ethereum platform, the network gets congested. And it's going to be very slow, and you might be waiting for between 10 minutes, 40 minutes, sometimes up to an hour to actually waiting for one transaction to take place. And if you want to operate on a series of transactions, you have to wait for the first transaction to complete until you start your second transaction. Otherwise, they will just be queuing on the network and get the network more congested. Secondly, the problem is if the network is congested, when the market is going quite active, there is going to be an increase of gas fee. And the gas fee could be varies from something like 20 GUI up to 40 GUI. Sometimes you see it jump up to 50, 80 GUI, and that's just get ridiculously expensive. So if you have not noticed yet what GUI is, if you go on some of the DeFi platform, like I think on Convex, I can see there's a little gas icon, usually on the right-hand side or of the web page, and it says how many GUI it is at the moment of the gas fee. And if you use, for example, Zapper, that APPER, which is like a protocol that connects with most of your assets from the DeFi protocol, and you can actually monitor where all your capitals that you deployed are. And that platform shows the gas fee as well. So these are some of the biggest problem Ethereum has been facing and trying to resolve. And that's where layer 2 kicks in. So what is layer 2? Layer 2 at the moment, there are 3 standout projects has been working on it to improve Ethereum's scalability and speed problems. And their names are Arbitrum, Optimistic, and Zero Knowledge rollups. And it's going to be happening between now and probably end of this year for those layer 2 solutions to improve Ethereum's problems it's facing. And I just had a quick look on the Ethereum official website, and it is actually saying Ethereum 2.0 might take place as quicker than people expect. Now, hopefully that is the case, because we kind of know everything takes place on blockchain could be slower. With developers and the programmers, it's tend to be slower than quicker. Now, Ethereum is also facing a something called EIP 1559, and that's take place on the 4th of August. I called London upgrade. So I'm based in London, so I'm obviously quite excited about the London upgrade. But that is actually a very simple upgrade to reduce the gas fee of Ethereum. That is one step forward. And then we will just wait and see what things are done with the Ethereum 2.0 coming up. Because we know that layer 2 is not a permanent solution. And layer 2 are more or less temporary. And even though the competition Ethereum is facing are quite traumatic, in the way that we know Cardano has been there for years, and the coin is ADA, and we know Polkadot has been there for years, sort of slightly younger than Cardano, I would say, and the coin is DOT, right? And that's just the 2 obvious one. There are a lot of competitors that have their own chains, like Cosmos is one of them. Cosmos is interesting. When it operates, it actually is quite smooth, and the transaction fee is really, really cheap and almost zero. But Cosmos also has some network problem, I think, because when it came out on around 25th of June, I remember, they were only allowing users to do 1 deposit per day as IP position, because the network was very congested. And now I think they later on did a vote on their system, and then now you're allowed to do 2 times per day depositing your IP position. So that's still not a law. So obviously there are things behind some technical things that the team is resolving. And Terra Luna has also been a very upcoming project that's been mentioned by a lot of crypto KOLs. I personally have not studied Terra Luna, so I'm not going to make much explanation on this one. But that is a name that comes up quite frequently these days. And then layer 2 solutions like Polygon, Matic, MATIC as the coin is also very popular, partly because once you transfer your funds onto Polygon, it is actually very fast and cheaper to use when you move funds around. And there are so many yield farms, like farming farms comes out on Polygon that people like to try and make their, bit of income on farming exercise, as well as side chains like BSC, so Binance Smart Chain. That is also somewhere you can deploy your capital on, and it's cheaper to do if you want to do any activity in the DeFi world. So these are all the problems or competitions that you could call that Ethereum is facing. Now, if you're a big fan of Ethereum and if you've been following with Ethereum for years, then, or if you are a heavy investor that have a large amount of money, you would more or less likely to be staying on Ethereum. Even the very small players like me, I did try BSC, I tried Polygon, I have a very small amount of fund on Cosmos. And I even once, I think, bought Polkadot coin. But in the end, I still choose to stay in Ethereum because it has got the most experienced and the biggest DeFi platform it is. And it's, to me, is the safest place that one should be. Whilst I don't need to be too worried about different farms that might be rugging you. But that does not necessarily stop you trying different platforms, especially if you're a newbie trying to understand what these things are all about and how fast or slower each chain may be and how cheap or expensive that each activity might be. And that is still something I recommend you do, regardless of where you might stay in the end. So will Ethereum be in a competition by beaten up by other projects? I would say from what the information we get now, it's very unlikely. It's unlikely. There are developers making comments on using Ethereum and finding it, knowing the problem it might have is because it started early and it came online very early on the mainnet. So it is more difficult to upgrade anything when it's already live, when it has such a massive ecosystem, when there are so many projects still are already on the chain, on the network. And if you want to do any upgrade, it's a big challenge for you to make everything compile with each other. Whilst if it's a new project, then you could sort of close the door and work on it until it's kind of close to ready. Because I don't think anything can be like 100% ready, but to minimize the problem you have if it goes live online. So that's one of the opinion that some of the developers will say, and it is true. But the advantage of Ethereum is the SDK tools. So the development kits for developers to use are very mature on the Ethereum chain. And compared to that, for example, Polkadot could be a lot more difficult to use. And Ethereum is a lot more mature from that angle. And guess what? The most important thing here in the blockchain world, and I believe in many other world products, is that community is the most important keys, or one of the most important keys. And you could have the best technology in the world, but if nobody uses it, if nobody knows about it, then it's not going to do very much, is it? And Ethereum has the biggest advantage is because it started in 2015. It's like, when you have Bitcoin and there are a lot of competitors came out after Bitcoin was born in 2009. There were a lot of chains, a lot of POW, so proof of work type of coins come out, and most of them are dead. There's only, I think, BCH, which is a fork of Bitcoin. There's Litecoin, because there's a slight quicker feature, sort of altered from Bitcoin code. And then there's Dogecoin. So there aren't too many coins left, and none of them can compete with Bitcoin. So I think same thing, probably same principle applies on Ethereum. That okay, is Cardano gonna survive? Yes. Is Polkadot gonna survive? Yes. But is Ethereum gonna be beaten up by them? Very unlikely. I would say no. They're probably all gonna be survive and take the market share that they belong. That's what I think it's gonna be. So for me, I'm not too worried about my investment in Ethereum. I am aiming to get 10 Ethereum in my portfolio, which currently I have 5.5 that I deployed on Aave. And I also have, I think, 0.5 or to 1 Ethereum that I use as IP LP liquidity providing position on other platform. And my target is to get at least 10 Ethereum, if not more, depending on the pricing. So that's what my target is. So that's some of the things I wanted to share today on Ethereum and the sort of the competitors and the likelihood of the technology upgrades that might take place today. So if you like the content, please like and subscribe, and follow me on Twitter and join on Discord. And I will see you next time.